Back with you tonight, John in Focus. Now, last night around this time, President Cyril Ramaphosa outlined his emergency interventions to end the country's recent period of recurring power cuts. Its highlights included removal of red tape, encouraging demand reduction, and skills recruitment to meet Eskom's requirement. The address focused on renewables and coal. Other forms of power production were conspicuously absent, and we are now joined by nuclear engineer Emmanuel Montwedi, Deputy Chairperson of the South African Young Nuclear Professional Society. Emmanuel, good evening, and thank you very much for your time and joining us tonight here on In Focus. I'll get into the specifics, and you'll get technical. I'm sure you'll be able to help us with that. But on a broad view, right, the plan presented by President Cyril Ramaphosa of boosting the country's capacity for renewable energy, will that stop load shedding?
Good evening, and good evening to your listeners and your viewers. The South African Young Nuclear Professional Society firstly appreciate the effort by the President to arrest the energy crisis that we find ourselves in, specifically the supply of electricity. I don't know how to respond to that question, but on a broad view, what we welcome mostly is the presidency making arrangements for additional resources to maintain the existing fleet. And we have 17,000 megawatts of Eskom's fleet that is broken. And if we can fix about 35% of that, then we have the 6,000 megawatts that is in shortage, which can then meet our short-term demand. But in the longer term, fast-tracking and increasing access to renewable energy sources might not actually solve the problem, because we are having a base load problem. We have installed capacity of 6,500 megawatts of renewable energy as it stands today in the Eskom grid. At peak, when we are load shedding, when we are being load shed, only 1,200 megawatts of that is available. So I'm not sure. I don't think that the additional 6,000 megawatts of renewable energy will solve the problem, especially in the absence of storage that works.
Yeah. So the argument that I see you're having with your fellow engineers and quite enjoying yourselves at it is the fact that variable renewable energy would never be able to replace dispatchable fossil power. Tell me why do you believe that?
Tell you why it would never be able to...
Yeah, why you're making that argument?
Because, look, let's look at our experience currently, right? As it stands, we are getting at the most during peak, when we are load shedding, 6,000 and 1,200 megawatts of renewable energy, which won't make a difference, really, much of a difference to load shedding. So we need much more of that on the grid. Now, variable renewable energy, or as it's called, the plan depends quite heavily on gas or on battery storage to work. We don't have that at the moment.
And what would have been the option? I see many people are saying, okay, so if we don't go there, where do we go? Because as it were, we are already driving this car broken, and there is just really no opportunity to fix it at this particular part. Because when we break to say, okay, let's try and fix this old car, we go to stage 6 load shedding at this particular point. And renewable energy, others are arguing, at least will give us that breather.
Yes. Look, the short-term solution would be to fix what is broken. So we are already experiencing load shedding anyway. So like I mentioned earlier, if we fix only 35% of what is broken, then we can breathe for the next few years, and then while the country then rolls out some sort of a reliable and affordable solution. So, fixing it is a short-term solution, I agree fully. But in the long term, we need to replace base load with base load. So that is either new coal or new nuclear, and we can argue about timelines of each, but if it's intermittent sources that we're replacing with, it will simply not solve our problems in the long term.
Yeah, I was waiting for you to say that. So why nuclear? I mean, they would say, why not gas? Why not the other forms that are there? I know there's biogas that has not been mentioned. There are others. Mostly we mentioned wind and solar and a little bit of gas. But why would we go to nuclear? And of course, you know the next question, do we have an answer to nuclear waste?
I think we must use what we have, right? We don't have gas, and that must be very clear. We don't have it, so we will either be importing, and I don't know from where. If it will be from Mozambique or LNG from somewhere else. But then, if we don't have gas, that leaves us with coal. The world seems to be, well, we seem to want to move away from coal. So then that leaves us with nuclear as an alternative, reliable and clean energy source. And with the new small modular reactors that do not need water for cooling, we can use those to replace our existing coal units up in Mpumalanga.
How long would that take?
How long would that take? So I think the shortest it will take would be about 5 years, looking at experience around the world.
And so the argument then is 5 years from now, with a 60% youth unemployment, close to 49% unemployment in the country, do you think we could be able to hold off that long with the ongoing interruptions to our power?
I think fixing what is broken in the short term can get us easily to 4 to 5 years from now. Remember, experience is there that Eskom has been able to prioritize maintenance, go on a maintenance festival of some sort, fix what was broken, and we had 3 years of no load shedding. So if the same thing can be done, it could we can breathe a little bit as a country without any load shedding until new generation capacity comes into play. And I'm not saying solar and wind must not be deployed as well. I'm saying over-reliance on it will not solve the problem.
Emmanuel, we appreciate your time, and thank you very much for coming on. Emmanuel Montwedi there. He's a nuclear engineer and deputy chairperson of the South African Young Nuclear Professional Society. They've been weighing in as well on the announcements made yesterday by President Cyril Ramaphosa to mitigate the energy crisis we are facing in the country.